Depuis autant des vacances rivées, c'est mon grand monde a c'est la joie de vivre. Qu'un bon soleil pour nous un petit bain de mer, en vacances que nous comptons. C'est ça qui fait les vacances rivées, n'oubliez soucis, chagrin, tout problème la vie. Nous passons plage, pique-nique dans tout petit bal, ambiance tout partout, musique à violer.
Welcome to another episode of the Caribbean Report, and we have a surprise for you, and you probably just seen it. We just showed you a sneak preview of it. We didn't want to start off yet. We just want to give you a tease. But you can see we have Mr. Don Clarke here, and you see his steel pan. And not only is he going to get an interview tonight, he is actually going to play for us more than once. So stay tuned. And just to recap, well, you know what? Before I get into that, I believe we are ready for the steel pan. And let's hit it. Now, see, all of y'all, at the beginning of this season, at the end of last season, we told y'all this season we're going to take it up a level. And for everyone that didn't believe us, you saw it last week and you see it this week. This is the proof. Again, you saw it at the bottom of the screen, but that was Mr. Don Clarke from Trinidad, and he's playing the steel pan. And we're about to go into an interview with him in a minute. He has to, situate himself. He just got finished playing. But one thing I want to touch on real quick is last week, in case you missed it, you have to go to the website at myspace.com/Atlanta Caribbean Report. And we'll have it up on the screen later on, but you have to go to the website because last week we had Sandra Polanese Centeno, who did a document, or who is working on the documentary, The Price for Freedom. And this is a very important documentary that you all have to follow. It's regarding the Haitian Revolution and its impact on Haiti and other countries, especially the U.S. And you see it on the screen now, myspace.com/Atlanta Caribbean Report. And in a minute, you're going to see our co-host, Clarke, who, of course, we missed last week. Now, let me back up. We had a wonderful show last week, but it would have been even better if she was here. But unfortunately, she was sick. It's that time of year. But I'm just happy she's well, number one, and number two, that she's back sitting here next to me. So, you know what? Let me turn it over to her, because I want her to tell us who we have in the second half of this show. Because that's what like I said, we're taking this to another level. You already got a taste from Don Clarke. He's going to play again, and he's going to be interviewed. But on top of that, we have more guests who Clarke is going to tell you about, because we're on for a full hour. It's not just 7 to 7:30 anymore. It's 7 o'clock to 8 p.m. But without further ado, Karen, I have to pass it over to you, especially since we missed you so much last week.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm feeling much better, but it's the time of year and lots of allergies.
Yeah.
So I still have some allergies going on with my throat. It hurts a little bit to speak. But thank you, and I'm feeling much better. And we have a wonderful, wonderful set of people here this evening. As you heard tonight, you heard Don Clarke, and he's an excellent pan man. And the next guest that we have, he's also a pan man, jack of all trades, and also his name is Ruthven Linkwai, and he has a company that he founded, which is DevTech Consulting, LLC. He has so many different disciplines, meaning in the financial area.
Really?
Yes, he is an accountant by trade, and also he is one of the co-founders of Trinidad and Tobago Association here in Atlanta, Georgia.
Really?
Yes. His other partner, who was supposed to be here this evening, is unable to make it, Ernie Jones. And I would like to invite him next week, because I have another lineup next week, which is a takeoff from this evening. Because we're going to be talking about the TNT Trade Commission, that took place in Trinidad and Tobago. DeKalb County was very much so involved with Ernie Jones and Ruthven Linkwai. So as we were saying, that if you want to do business in Trinidad, come on board. The country is welcoming everybody to come on board and start businesses, from engineers, architects, you name it. Very professional.
So tonight they can get entertained and rich at the same time.
Entertained and rich, yes. Very prosperous. In the Caribbean, yes, we are prosperous people.
Good. Now,
we're going to share it with everybody, so everybody could be prosperous.
Now I have a question that I know all of the viewers want to know right now. Clarke from Trinidad.
Yes.
Don Clarke from Trinidad. Is there any type of relation going on here?
I don't know. But I thought he was your twin.
From the Braves,
yes,
huh?
Yes, I thought that he was your twin.
Well, we all related then. We're just all related.
We are all related. And he spelled it the same way like myself. I say the dangling E, because so many people want to take away my E from me, you know?
Clarke.
Yes, Clarke. I am a Clarke, yes. Yes, we are related. We all are related somehow.
I just got a quick question, another one for the viewers. What was the title of that first selection?
The name of that tune was called Belemus.
Okay. Okay.
And the first tune was called Iron Man, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Iron Man by Kitchener, the great Lord Kitchener.
Okay.
One of Trinidad's top or former top calypsonian.
I'd like to ask you a question. What is the history of steel pan?
Well, the history of steel pan goes way back in the late 30s. It all started, I think, during the war. A lot of people had certain frustrations.
Okay.
And I want to use the word our people, the black in Trinidad, found a way to let out some of that frustration by music and by playing what we call percussion music. They started off playing what was known in then a biscuit drum. That's an ordinary drum, and you beat it. And then they found out that beating the drum for so long, it turned from one sound to another. And then the innovation came about making these pans. The pan actually is made from a 50-gallon oil drum.
And as you know, we have lots of oil in Trinidad,
And I was
right?
going to say, that's interesting. You look how shiny.
Well, that's a
This
chrome
drum
pan. That's a chrome pan. In those days, you didn't have chrome pan. You had just a pear pan, and somebody would paint it with a paintbrush, and that was it. But now, today, everything is sophisticated all over the world. Everybody wants a chrome pan.
You know what? Also, in my reading, there is a group here of Americans, young kids, who play steel pan, and they're in, I think, Wisconsin. I can't remember the state, but it's very versatile. People from all over the world are taking courses to play the steel pan. It's not just in the Caribbean alone.
It's all over in the world. Japan, Germany, France, Africa. It's all over the world. In fact, every year they have what they call an international panorama, and it's held in different countries.
Okay.
And you have all sorts of people from different countries is playing our national piece, our national instrument.
I was about to say, it's interesting because I was at the Virginia Beach Carnival last year, and now they have in May what is called, I believe, a panorama. Just a big steel pan, I guess you could say, concert or festival. Why do you think the steel pan took off the way that it did?
Well, I would say when you have people like the late Duke Ellington,
Okay.
and way back, and you find Quincy Jones and some of the great jazz, they got a taste of the music. And of course, we have some great musicians, Bugsy Sharp, Robbie Greenidge, Ray Holman. These are top international players. They have played in a lot of movie background pieces and etc. And it take off in such a way that people started visiting the island. We have carnival every year.
Right.
And they started visiting the island, and the excitement with just the mystery of the song. In fact, we still have people look under the instrument to see where the song is coming from, and we are in 2008. But the song just comes from the pan, and it's done handmade. It's what we call in Trinidad blood and sweat. You make the grooving, you burn the pan, and the tuners play. Now, everybody uses what they call like a strobe.
Okay.
So they're more high-tech now.
Right.
But before, everything was with the ear. You hum a C note, you may be sharp or flat, but it's a C note to you, and they make the pan. But now everything is wide. It's very, very wide.
I've also heard pan music in classical, and in so many, it's so from hip-hop.
I was going to say every
classical.
jump.
Yes.
Well, you see, the pan is, I would consider it one of the wonders of the world. You can't get away from that. There's no other instrument that sound like the steel pan. Now, you have people with keyboards that have the pads and has an imitation sound.
Right, imitation.
But you
not
can
the
tell the
same,
difference
yeah.
when somebody's rolling or when they're not rolling. And then if we have a foreigner, well, actually he's an American, Andy Norell. He's known all over the world, one of the best. Andy Norell, one of the best. And the youngsters, as you were mentioning, Karen, the youngsters now is what they're doing is they are into music. Not like when I was brought up. Everything I do, I play by ear. I don't read
Wow.
music. I compose. Everything is by ear. So you have people that is going to school and studying music and playing the instrument. So you have bands, for instance, like the University of New Orleans, where you have the band and all the music sheets is in front of them. All the music sheets is in front of them.
Okay. So basically, back in the Caribbean, everything was founded by playing by ear, not by music.
By
sheets.
ear. Up to today, we still have the majority of players in Trinidad, little kids, 7 right up, play by ear. And they learn the classical music by Mozart, the whole score sheet by ear. Of course, the director of some of those programs don't know music. But the players themselves, they just hear the part that they're directing, and they play it and they maintain that by ear. Everything is by ear.
Wow. And I was going to say, it's funny. Now they're still paying, you think of a pleasant sound, a happy feeling. But when it first started out, playing the steel pan was considered something that you shouldn't do. Could you talk more about that?
Yeah. Excuse me. The steel pan itself was geared to what you call the lower echelon of our society in Trinidad, mostly the blacks.
Okay.
In those days, we were ruled under the British. And therefore, when you talk about playing a pan, it was a no-no to your parents.
Wow.
That's for the vagabonds or the hooligans. And this was a stigma that went on for years. Up to today, there are certain people shy away from their children learning to play the instrument because they figure it's going to be in that environment. Of course, now you have people with bow ties and everything that is playing the pan. But that's the way I was introduced to pan. I used to run away to play the pan. And when I get back home, I just expose my butt to get the whipping, and that was it, you know. But I did that for many, many years. But now I think more parents is understanding that this is our national instrument, and the schools have competition, the colleges have competitions, and schools from different countries in England, the universities, is giving scholarship for pan players.
Wow.
So it's a very wide scope right now.
You answered the question I was going to ask you. Basically, is it known as the state or Trinidad and Tobago national instrument? Because everybody has their own instrument.
It is Trinidad and Tobago national instrument. That's it. Steel band was born, bred, and that's it. But
So-
that's our national instrument.
So no other Caribbean island could fight over it? There are no wars about it?
No, well, you know, you have people in this world and this society will come after the building is built and say, I had the plan. And there's some will come after the building is built and say, you know, I was the one that built it. Come to find out they know nothing about the building.
Okay.
So we do have people that is trying to claim this and that, but the original and the originality of pan came from Trinidad and Tobago. In fact, by a place called Laventy behind the bridge, where quote-unquote society low class
As
live.
the vagabond.
Vagabonds.
But you know what is quite interesting is when you see the tourism commercials of various islands, the first people you see to greet the tourists are the pan players.
At the airport.
So,
And that's
so in all the Caribbean islands, they have grown to love the pan. Is there also national instrument as well?
Well, places like Jamaica, you may hear a little pan, but they're mostly like reggae. But Antigua, Barbados, St. Vincent, St. Lucia, some of those countries, yes. Or even right here in Nassau, you know, you go there, the first thing you hear to greet you is that pan favor, because the pan favor gives you a feeling of you're in the ocean, you're hearing the nice breeze,
Yes.
you're drinking the nice coconut water,
Yes.
the fruits, the pretty women, you have one on my left right here. All the niceness of Trinidad flavor. Once you hear that song of the pan, you're eager to see what else is in the country.
You're making a lot of
Yes.
our audience members tonight book a lot of
Yes.
tickets right now.
I
'cause
want
they
to
booking their
go.
trips.
I want to go.
Something
Definitely.
Yeah.
You can,
Now- I
you
was
can
go-
hear the ocean, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, definitely. Yes,
I almost
ocean.
forgot the show was coming on while you were playing, but
Yeah.
I had to get back in character. I was going to say, now you've been playing the pan for years. I'm not going to say how many years because we know
You can.
you're only 21 right now.
Yes,
but we
you
know-
can.
But I have to ask you, what has been your greatest moment?
Well, my greatest moment actually was actually two. The first one was my band from College Park got selected to play in the Olympic Village in '96. That was a big,
Yeah, that's huge.
And then the second one was I normally play at the Emory University Graduate School, Medical Graduate School students. I play for the exercise. And this student took a card from me and says, when I get married, you got to play for my wedding.
Mm-hmm.
Not knowing who she was. And then I got a phone call a year after by a gentleman claiming to be the agent of Sidney Poitier.
Wow.
So when he called me and said that this is so-and-so and Sidney Poitier want to play for his granddaughter's wedding, I hang up the phone. 'Cause, you know, I have friends call me and they call kind of done, you know. So the guy called me back. He said, please don't hang up. I said, well, how you get my name? And he said, this young lady and so on. So I said, yeah, I paid for that school before. So that was my highlight, meeting him in person.
All right.
And he's such a wonderful person. And then, of course, his request to me was his #1 tune, To Serve With Love.
Wow.
I never played it, but
Yeah.
so I got on the pan and played, and he just went, just melted, So meeting him, shaking his hands, giving him the hugs and etc. was one of the highlights of my career in playing the pan.
I would like to ask you this. I noticed in your bio that you compose a lot of music for various artists in the Caribbean.
Well, various artists, yes, in terms of they are singing my composition.
Okay.
My first stunt was with a tune called The Bomb, which everybody know Crazy. He's a top calypsonian in Trinidad, and he sang it, tuned it very well. And that composition came by mistake. I just did it, and another pan man heard it. He said, boy, you need to record this. I says, no, But then I did, and it caught on. And since then, I've been hooked. So I've been composing music since then. Last year was my most successful year in composing. I did a tune called Can't Get Enough, sung by Eunice Peters. And that tune was well received, where it was nominated Pan Tune of the Year. And to get a nomination with that prestigious height was amazing to me. I didn't even think that I was in that circulation of the other artists. I didn't even think that I was considered. But now everybody's expecting to hear something from Don Clarke every year. And next year, of course, I'll have a blast. This year I did a tune called She Hot For So.
Okay.
Crazy sang that.
I heard that one. I like that.
The tune represents how I was playing the pan. She Hot For So. Because besides of my family and my wife, that's my main girlfriend right there, the pan. Sleeps with me and everything.
So I better not touch
Yeah,
her.
yeah.
Okay, now, unfortunately, that quick, we're already about to head into a break. But the good news is we're going to hear you play again. But before we do that, we have to let our viewers know, how can they get into contact you in case they want to hear you play?
Well, I think I would let Ms. Clarke answer that. I give all the information.
Okay.
Okay.
And also on top of that, that means it will be on our website.
Yes, it will be on our website. And what we're going to do, we're going to post his email address is donclarkedc@hotmail.com.
Okay.
His phone number is 404-441-1735.
Okay, if you didn't catch it, it'll be on the site.
Correct. So you have to tune in, go on myspace.com/Atlanta Caribbean Report.
Right, and it'll be back on the screen.
And you will definitely see a wealth of information. You're going to see information on our guests, how you can contact them and have them play for them.
Okay, well, let Don get prepared to lead us into break. And while he's doing that, I'll give you some more tidbits on what's going on. One thing I'd like to say, I'm sorry, Don, you can go ahead. But one thing I like to say is this is a show not just for us. For those of you watching the first time, this is for everybody. You see the phone number flash up on the screen. Please call in. Like I said, this is a show for everybody. Any questions, comments, concerns that you have, please call in. And we look forward to talking to you. For those of you who watched last week's show, it was a very interactive show. So like I said, in just about 30 seconds, you will hear Don Clarke lead us to break. And while I'm speaking on, I'd like to thank him again for being on. And there is a possibility, stay tuned, there's a possibility that he will also lead us out on this show. So you definitely have to stay tuned because you'll never know. Karen, I have to pass this back over to you because like I just feel, I know you were only gone last week, but it just seems like it was too long.
Really? Well, to me, the week went by real fast.
But I mean, it seemed like it was too long since you were sitting here.
I know.
Because not only me, the audience really missed you last week.
And I missed you as well. And I heard that show was excellent. I saw the program, and let me tell you, that topic is a hot topic.
Oh, good.
It's
But
a hot topic.
without further ado, we're going to go to a performance, and we'll be back with you with our next guest.
Mudslinging, tired of being told who to vote for? At Project VoteSmart's unique research facility high in the Rocky Mountains, hundreds of volunteers have gathered to investigate issue positions, backgrounds, and campaign contributors on over 12,000 candidates fighting for your vote. This year, get the facts, not the rhetoric. Help us change the face of democracy. Don't just vote, vote smart. Call our researchers toll-free at 888-VOTE-SMART or visit us on the web at vote-smart.org.
We're fighting diabetes, one step at a time. Join thousands of walkers across the country to raise money for the American Diabetes Association. Join America's Walk for Diabetes. Get involved. Form a team. Bring the kids. Walking is good for your health and great for the cause. Call or log on today. Together, we can find a cure, one step at a time.
We had to tease you a little bit. We told you who was going to play into the break, but like I said, we had to tease you a little bit. You just stay tuned. You're going to hear him at the end. But without further ado, because you know how fast time goes here, but actually, I'm going to let Karen introduce our next guest.
Yes. I have the pleasure of welcoming Rufin Linkwai. And as I was saying before, there's hot stuff going on in Trinidad, and good TNT we all see. Investment trade opportunities, the focus of business mission from DeKalb County, Georgia. Yes, indeed. Rufin Linkwai, Ernie Jones, and DeKalb County have been working very diligently in doing trade with Trinidad and Tobago. And I have him here this evening to discuss the many opportunities and what is going on in the good old TNT. Hi, Rufin. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. And how are you, Karen?
I'm doing fantastic. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, as you mentioned earlier, I'm an accountant by profession. My specialty is tax accounting. But a few years ago, I formed a company, DevTech Consulting, limited liability company, together with my brother, Dr. Keith Linkwai. And we have been doing consulting work here in the United States of America, also in the Caribbean, and of course, Trinidad and Tobago. Our focus is on financial management and business consulting, and we in particularly specialize in alliance management consulting, bringing companies together, buyers and sellers to the market. And that's it's a mouthful, but it's quite challenging.
That sounds like a big challenge right there
Yes,
in
it is.
itself. So, how did you get DeKalb County involved with this business venture?
Well, this is interesting. In November 2003, the Trinidad and Tobago Association was formed. And arising out of the strategic planning exercise, which you, Karen, was involved with also,
Yes.
we identify a number of key success factors, one of which was highlighting and focusing on Trinidad and Tobago in sort of the image of Trinidad and Tobago in the United States. And we decided that economic component to that strategic plan should be put in place. We initiated this discussion with the Consul General of Miami at that time, the Honorable Robertson, who invited Vernon Jones, CEO of DeKalb County, to visit Trinidad, and this was in 2004. He was very interested and instructed his staff to work with the Trinidad and Tobago Association and Ernie Jones and myself to make this thing a reality. In December 2007, we were able to get ETech, which is a company, a state enterprise called Evolving Technologies, that was set up by the government of Trinidad and Tobago to promote inward investment in the country. We were able to get the president of that company to come up and give us a presentation on doing business in Trinidad. This presentation was done to a select group of business interests in here at downtown, and arising from it, a number of companies expressed the immediate desire to go to Trinidad.
Wow.
And between December last year and February, second week in February, it all took place.
Wow.
You know, what is so wonderful to see is that the growing stages of the Trinidad and Tobago Association and all the hard work that the various committees put together so that all this could take place, and Georgia being part of the sister cities, you know, that, I mean, so much has happened, and to see your little baby just grow like that, it must give you a very good feeling inside.
Yes, I'm very pleased because if you recall, Karen, when we founded this association, we weren't sure how and when and to what extent it would evolve. But in the space of 4 years, we have taken it from a group of 50, 60 people to one of where the government of DeKalb County and the government of Trinidad and Tobago have gotten interested in doing trade, and we are the ones who helped initiate this whole process.
I was going to say, where do you see things going 5 and 10 years from now? Or where would you like to see it go?
What we would like to see is the trading relationships between DeKalb County and Trinidad develop considerably. There are a lot of mutual interests. For example, we took, together with city officials, we took 9 business interests there to Trinidad. 4 of those business interests were in the areas of environmental management.
Okay.
We're talking about guys with 30, 40 years experience in environmental management. As you know, Trinidad is an emerging state where we are focusing on a lot of energy-based industries.
Right.
So the issue of environmental management is a critical issue on the agenda right now. And suffice to say, these guys were so interested in making this trip that when they went to Trinidad and they saw some of the problems, environmental problems, the University of West Indies spoke with these guys and asked them to consider coming back to Trinidad to lecture at the university on issues of environmental management. They also had discussions with the Ministry of Labor, the Ministry of Environmental Management, with a view to helping to develop policies and procedures to control the extent of emissions that are coming out from some of the industry-based companies at Point Leases. So we foresee a very equitable and a fruitful partnership between the businesses here in DeKalb County and Trinidad and Tobago.
is, one thing I have to say in visiting in Trinidad, there is so much growth, industrial growth, and with that, the pollution that will come about. And one thing with the 2020 vision, and they are foreseeing all of these obstacles that could come in the way and things that we still are learning from, to invite these other people to come down, like wastewater, watershed, wastewater management, to come down and to help them grow and put these policies in place so that we don't lose the beauty of the island. It could still be marketed as a tourist beautiful place as well as an industrial technical island.
Well, this is interesting. You made some very interesting points there. Trinidad right now is growing at such a rapid pace that it's difficult to harness the resources within the country to deal with some of the challenges. As a result, the government has to go out to solicit support and help in dealing with some of these issues. The environmental issue is one. What is also interesting is that because of that growth, you find that the unemployment level has reduced to virtually manageable levels at 5%, to the extent that we have to import labor into the country because of the massive amount of construction that is taking place, both in the housing, in terms of also the commercial sector, in terms of infrastructure. So the growth is so tremendous that we have to import labor, we have to import technical knowledge, and this is where people like myself and Ernie and the Trinidad diaspora comes in. Many decades ago, we talk about the brain drain.
Right.
Okay?
Definitely.
Now we are witnessing a reverse brain drain.
I was going to say, we actually talked about that, was it 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago we addressed that.
So we're in a new phase now of a reverse brain drain. And that those of us who left Trinidad, technical people left Trinidad 3-4 centuries ago, are now returning with expert knowledge and experiences. And give it back to the country. And this is happening not only in Trinidad, but Jamaica, Barbados, and other islands throughout the Caribbean.
Now, with that, okay, you have just mentioned, are they working, all these islands working collectively together to help each other to industrialize, to become one big economic united front where you don't have to go outside of the country to get certain products and services? You'll have it manufactured in-house, basically?
Very good point. In fact, that is exactly happening. As we speak today, there's a heads of Caribbean meeting taking place in Nassau, Bahamas, where the heads of all the Caribbean islands meet on a regular basis to discuss trade, economic, security issues and so. So there's a growing need for collaboration among the Caribbean states. And this is taking place at a very, very great level in all areas, particularly trade and security. Because as you know, the Caribbean sometimes is used as a shipment point for drugs to North America. And we, in the Caribbean, the governments are sensing that there may be an increase in that sort of trend. So they are putting initiatives in place to try to stop, at least to neutrify that trend that is developing.
Okay, so because of the increased trade that we're going to be doing, they're making sure that they put a full stop on that, so that there's no drugs going to sneak through.
Because with economic development, you'll find criminal development taking place hand in hand. You know? So as we speak, as I said, they're in Nassau, Bahamas, talking about these issues now, and hopefully they'll come up with some policies to deal with it.
Now, I wanted to ask a question. If someone here wanted to, say, go to Trinidad and say, secure a position, maybe a job or start a business, who should they contact? Where should they go?
Okay. It's interesting because, as I mentioned to you, Karen, off the air, the newspapers is complete with job opportunities, vacant jobs that they cannot fulfill. My best bet for anyone, a technical person, is to try to get their hands on the newspapers, try to speak with the Ministry of Labor, try to speak with the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Commerce, Trinidad and Tobago Manufacturers Association, E-Tech, the company that hosted this trade mission. All these organizations are available to assist people who are willing to come back to make a contribution to the country. And I can tell you, there are a lot of job opportunities. The technical field, especially engineers, in the medical field, tremendous scope and opportunity.
Yes, right. And what about networking? Networking, computer technology, and basically?
In fact, very good question. In fact, as everyone knows, Trinidad is a gas and oil-based company.
Right.
Country.
Right.
What the government is doing is trying to diversify away from oil and gas into non-energy sector, using the gas and oil as a feedstock. Okay. So right now we have 7 methanol plants, a fertilizer plant, urea plant, natural gas plant. We'll be building an aluminum plant very soon.
Wow.
So because of that diversification now, there are a lot of job opportunities for a lot of technical people and a lot of opportunities to network in these areas.
So, in other words, everybody from the United States is going out to Trinidad because it's hard for us to find jobs right now. A lot of people are getting laid off.
I would advise people who are seeking opportunities to come to Trinidad. It's booming. There are a lot of opportunities there, and I could guarantee you that when you land in Piarco Airport, it just take you a few days before you can get a job because there are opportunities.
I've heard so. I've heard a lot of associates of mine, friends of mine, have returned back to Trinidad and are doing quite successful in starting their own businesses and with great job opportunities. So it is there for everybody.
That's right.
It is there for everybody.
So when are you booking your?
You just don't know. When you were talking about landing at Piarco Airport, the other day we were talking, and I said to you that whenever I land at the airport, or whatever monkey's on my back, it just goes away.
That's
and
right.
I was just fantasizing that feeling of how joyous and how comfortable I feel. It's something that serenity. It's my zen.
You have to experience it. It's difficult to explain.
It's difficult, but once I'm there, I'm like a baby, and I don't want to come back to the United States. I mean, it's nothing wrong. This is my home too. I grew up here, and my children are here. But if I didn't have them, I will be down there.
Well, the world has shrunk to a state where within 4 to 5 hours, you can leave here and be in Trinidad.
And that's a great thing. And another thing too that we should stress on as well. I've heard that Trinidad, because of the wealth and what is going on, they're giving back so much to the community and to the locals that they have free college, university education.
Oh, yes, that's correct. We have a university called the University of Trinidad and Tobago that focuses on communications, technology. That's their specialty. Education at the bachelor's level, undergraduate level, is completely free.
Wow.
Completely free. For nationals of
right.
At the graduate level, there's a considerable amount of sponsorship by the government, so you do not pay 100%. But at the bachelor's level, education is free.
See, and that's something that viewers you cannot take lightly. I mean, even if you're not a national, I mean, you need to look into either going to school or just the business opportunities there in Trinidad. And we're just using Trinidad as an example, which is a good example. There, as we mentioned earlier, there are a lot of islands where there's a lot of development and opportunities going on.
Something else I want to mention with the education. Second generation can also apply to go because, for instance, my children, even though they were born here, because I was born and I'm a native of the Caribbean, of Trinidad, I made them a citizen by obtaining a passport. So they have the opportunity of a free education instead of having a large mortgage by the time they finish graduate here, they can go back to Trinidad, the West Indies, which is a fantastic university. They're accredited, well-respected university, and get a good education. And also, who knows, probably the other islands will follow suit with that.
Well, UWI, which is the University of the West Indies, has campuses in Jamaica, Barbados, Trinidad, etc. So you find that students travel up and down the Caribbean depending on what area they specialize in. Like UE, the Trinidad campus specializes in engineering, agriculture. The Barbados campus specializes in law, etc. And things like that. So you find a lot of Caribbean students traveling up and down the islands, going to different campuses, getting their education, etc.
Now, I want to go back to a point you mentioned earlier, how we said, you asked a question, Karen, on how can they contact, I guess you could say, people, organizations regarding this, and you mentioned the newspapers, and I know our viewers probably asking which newspapers and so forth, but it's simple. You all use, not to advocate any search engine, but any search engine out there, search for Caribbean jobs, search for Trinidad and Tobago newspaper or Caribbean newspapers, and as you see our website on the screen, there will also be links from our website. I mean, there are even, I forgot the exact URLs, but there are sites tailored for Caribbean jobs, tailored to the U.S. For people that want to get jobs in the Caribbean.
Well, I'll tell you what, just come to our website and you will get everything. So we are the first stop because we will bring you everything for you to succeed, all the right tools for success.
Right.
So stop at our website, which is myspace.com/Atlanta Caribbean Report, and you'll get that information.
Not only that, remember you can contact us on that site. Any questions, comments, concerns, if you have guests you want to see on this show.
And another thing too, you could possibly contact the Trinidad and Tobago Association, and they'll be quite instrumental in helping you, and their information will be on that site as well.
Correct. And just to recap, well, first of all, before I do that, we're coming down to our last few minutes, so you're definitely going to be back on. But in terms of this show, is there any lasting comments or anything you want to reiterate to our audience out there?
I want to particularly thank the Office of CEO Vernon Jones.
Okay.
The Department of Economic Development. They did a great job in pulling together this trade mission up in DeKalb County in a short space of time. Very professional people, well organized, and I want to particularly thank them for the support that they have provided in making this trade mission possible.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
And I was going to say, I know you had an announcement that you wanted to make, and I don't want to let time run out before that happens, for an event that's happening tomorrow for those of you who are watching us live.
Yes, I do have an announcement. Georgia Caribbean Carnival Development Committee is having a Blue Food Brunch tomorrow. Yes, Saturday the 8th, between 1 p.m. and 6 p.m. And it's going to be held at 2077 Phillips Road, Lithonia, Georgia. You're going to get some stew fish, green fig, cassava, dumplings, corn soup, and the list goes on. And come to this fundraiser. If you do need some more information, you could give a phone call to 770-722-5828. That's 770-722-5828. Okay, so come on board and get some green fig and stew fish.
I was going to say, and please join us again next week, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. And I'm rushing through this because, like I told you before, we have a special treat for you. Just like you saw at the beginning of the show, he was going to play into break, but we said, well, let's tease you for a little bit. So without further ado, for the final 5 minutes of the show, he has another song that he would like to play for us, and he, of course, is Don Clarke. But before he starts, I have to thank Ruben again for being on our show, and we would definitely have you on again in the future. And I hear the music playing, so that means for me to shut up and let Don play. If we can get the music just a little bit louder. A little bit louder.
Sorry,
Mr. Don Clarke, everybody. Mr. Don Clarke. And this will not be his last time on the show. He will be back on. This will not be the last time. We're going to have a mixture of this for now on.
Keep playing. Keep playing.
Raise it up a little bit. He's going to actually lead us out. We got another treat for you. He's going to lead us out for the rest of the show. Mr. Don Clarke. Trinidad and Tobago. I like that show.
En vacances, nous contents. C'est ça qui fait le vacances privées. N'oubliez soucis, chagrin, tout problème la vie. Nous pas sous plage, pique-nique dans tout petit bal. Ambiance tout partout, musique à violer.